Um, Hello, I'm Sean Thomas. Today I'm gonna go over my sprint 3 for Capstone. So for the sprint retrospective, what I completed was I added a gold bars feature mechanic. So essentially you can collect gold coins. It says gold bars, but they're actually coins. And it tracks how many you collect and then makes a sound. Then I added a boat health bar GUI so you can track the health of your boat. And also a coins GUI to see the coins that you've actually collected. And then I've added a physical multi-island at the end of the level so that you can gauge how far you are, as well as a multi-island distance GUI. And then I ported over most of the code from Raylib, or most of the code to Raylib from our original lightweight Java game library project. So the blocker, the big issue was porting to Raylib to have the whole team use the same framework. So once I got that done, it wasn't a huge issue. And then just a small little change I made from the previous print. So I decided to go with the coin system to have a little score instead of going with a system to collect things to increase the boat's health. And that's because I feel like it'd be more interesting to have the gold coin system so that there's always an incentive to keep getting more coins instead of having the health bar system. Because if you can get so many, you can only get so many health bar increases until it just maxes out, and then there's not a point to get them. So here's my burn down chart. Um, most of the challenges or most of the tasks weren't too challenging. Um, Gold bar generation, gold bar sounds, or pretty much just copying and pasting a lot of the old code that I had to get the similar functionality from the rock generation and rock sounds. And then the GUIs weren't too hard in Raylib. And then just refactoring the code to Raylib was the most challenging part. Um, but thankfully it wasn't as much code as needed for the original lightweight Java game library project. And then um, having the multi-island then was also a nice additional feature. It wasn't too difficult. Simply just importing another GLB file um, and then adjusting it and positioning correctly so that the game would end before you reach it. So it looks like you're reaching Malta. And here's my burn down chart. Breakdown of labor. So most of the time went to moving the code to Raylib. Just rewriting the functionality inside of the C framework instead of actually creating new features. So that took about 90% of my time. And then the rest of the time was pretty much spent on um, creating the multi-island visual end. Um, sorry. Uh, and then also the GUI systems for the distance from Malta, the gold coin count, and the boat health. And then also the gold bar collection system wasn't too difficult, as I mentioned, because it was pretty much just copying and pasting the logic for the rock and then just updating it a little bit to allow the user to keep collecting them and have a counter for that. So some neat features I'm going to demo are the gold bars pickup, the gold bar sounds, Malta end location that you can physically see, the health bar GUI, coin counter GUI, and then also technically the Malta distance GUI as well. And then just generally the Raylib changes you'll see obviously as well. So I'm going to go into the live demo now. So I'm going to go ahead and run the game. So it'll take a little time to load. Um, I'm going to play through the whole game because I want to demo the island of Malta, and so I won't exit out before I get there. Otherwise I won't be able to show it. So you can see the gold coins now make sounds when you pick them up, and the rock generation is pretty much the same as it was in lightweight Java game library. Um, and the ocean looks a lot better now in Raylib as well as just the horizon looks better too. And also another interesting feature is that with Raylib we can use GLB files. So GLB files have the texture built into the file so that we don't have to add additional textures. We can just use one file for the object and also texture on top of it. And I believe they also have, I believe some have skeleton animations as well. I probably won't be using that, but it's just an interesting feature about GLB. But I might be wrong about that. Um, so as you can see in the top left, I have my HP of the boat, and then also the gold GUI, which shows all of the gold I'm collecting. And then on top right, you can see the meters that we are away from the island of Malta. So as you can see in the horizon, now we're reaching the island of Malta, which is just a GLB file. So that's why the texture maps correctly to the object. And then it's also stretched out all the way on the width of the entire playing field so that no matter where you are, you will be able to reach island of Malta. And we are about to crash onto the island of Malta. And as you can see now, we have this end screen to indicate that we have completed the game as well. So I'm going to exit the game. I'm just going to walk through some of the code. So here we have most of the code transported from lightweight JavaVM library to Raylib. So we have some initial variables and a struct to just define the boat and stuff for the water as well. Then here we have stuff for the game object to create a game object and then to unload the game object. And then here's how we can actually make the waves, and then the ocean as well, which takes the previous wave tiles definitions to draw the ocean. So here's our main function where we create the window, create the audio device so we can play music, and then have our FPS. Um, and then here we set up our camera, we import our boat, and then we have an error message for if the boat isn't available. And we have the island offset because the island is currently a GLB file, so if we don't offset the island, it'll look like you're going through the island, and we don't want that. We want the illusion of the game ending right before you hit the island. So that's why we have the offset. We load the island model in, we scale it so that it can go across the entire, I guess, width of the playing field of the game or whatever. Here's the rock generation logic, the gold generation logic, pretty similar. Boat health, and then info for the collected bars, the wave time, someone's reached Malta, just more information for the rock and gold generation systems. Here we have the audio, and then here's the main game loop. Um, so we can pretty much move the waves, play our music, move the boat, make sure the boat doesn't move the playing field, move out of the playing field. Make sure the boat moves inside of the waves. We have the camera. Um, and if we reach the boat, then we can stop the loop. If the boat reaches Malta, sorry, we should end the game by leaving the loop. Um, here's our rock spawn logic, and then gold spawn logic as well, and then information for rock collision and gold collision. Obviously here we will take away some of the boat's health, and here we will just increment our gold counter. Here we begin drawing. We can clear the background, and here we draw the ocean. We draw the models. We can draw our rocks and gold, and here we end it. And here we draw the GUIs for the boat health, the gold counter, and distance to Malta. And then here we have our end screen for different win conditions, if you win or if you lose. And then also show the gold. And then here we pretty much just clean up the game and then get rid of stuff to make sure everything, all the resources are fully deallocated. So that's pretty much all of the functionality I wanted to go over. In next sprint, I might want to do some restart buttons for the end game. I believe I already have some from Raylib, but if I don't have that, I will want to try to add some more functionality to inside the build mechanics. So in the proposal we wrote, the game was a little bit more complicated, so I might want to add some more I might want to add some of that complication in to make the game more interesting. So that there'd be like two modes, like where you have the boat running and then you simultaneously have to do stuff with the prisoner, guards, and crew. So I'm gonna look into that, and that will be on the agenda for next sprint. Um, Additionally, I didn't write it here, but we also need to merge all our code together into one fluent game, so that might be a next sprint issue as well. So I might want to do this as well and see if we can get both of those done. But that is all that I want to share for this sprint.